welcome. My name's Beck and you're watching Beck's Crafty Nook. So, there's some drama in the knitting world right now, and it actually showed up organically into my feed. SciShow, which is normally a really well-respected science channel, put out a video about knitting. The title? Physicists don't understand how knitting works. Sounds fun, right? Except the knitting community is not impressed, and let me explain why. I really think this video needs removing.
For years, SciShow was more an art than a science.
It is inaccurate. At best, it's a misogynistic at its
socks.
science.
Said no knitter ever.
Who wrote the script? In their video, SciShow tried to explain the science of how knitting works. But here's the problem. They got a lot of the details wrong. And on top of that, the tone of the video made it sound like knitting was basically a silly, worthless craft until male scientists came along to analyze it. Naturally, knitters were upset. People started pointing out the inaccuracies, posting corrections, and calling out the framing of the video. To their credit, SciShow did respond. They actually acknowledged the criticism and they put out a statement. And I'm going to talk about that more a little bit later. But the video and its apology statement still left a lot of people feeling very frustrated. Now, I'm not here to nitpick the science in detail. Other creators who are much more advanced knitters have already done that so beautifully, and I put links to those videos in the description. I'm coming at this as a crocheter and a baby knitter, and even from my beginner perspective, I can tell you that knitting is not a simple craft. For example, look at this project. It looks really simple. In a way, it's just a piece of fabric. It's a rectangle and a bit of embroidery. It has knits and purls. It has some decreases. But this took me 4 hours. And I have another project that I've been working on. This little guy. After 6 hours, I produced this cute little frog. But I learned about short rows, which creates these bumps in the fabric here to give it shape and form. These short rows that let you shape the fabric into curves and bumps, that's not basic at all. It's geometry in yarn and in form. And in crochet, we've got similar mind-blowing things. This is a Mobius fidget. Looks a little bit like coral, doesn't it? Did you know that crochet was actually used to model hyperbolic planes when paper models just couldn't do it? That's real math and real science, and it's happening in these crafts. So here's the thing a lot of knitters have been pointing out. Knitting isn't just a craft, it's technology. Think about it. Knitting literally helped people survive. Fishermen's sweaters, soldiers' socks, gloves in freezing winters. This wasn't decoration, it was life-saving gear. And knitting has advantages over weaving. The fabric is stretchy, flexible, and form-fitting. That's a design innovation. And get this, the first knitting machine was invented in 1589 by William Lee. That's before the steam engine. Industrial knitting machines came centuries before what we normally call the technological age. Fast forward to today, and knitting is everywhere in science and engineering. Medical stents and vascular grafts are made using knitting and braiding techniques because the loop structure is flexible, just like tissue is. NASA and aerospace engineers use knitted structures for lightweight, flexible materials. And if you've ever worn Nike Fly Knit or Adidas Prime Knit sneakers, you've literally worn industrial knitting technology. And on top of all of that, knitting and crochet are mathematical powerhouses. Let's look at how this algorithm works. Stitch patterns are basically algorithms. You've got repeats, like loops in code, conditionals, like if this stitch, then do that, and built-in error checking, because mistakes are obvious. Drop stitches run down, twisted stitches change the fabric shape, and wrong stitch counts will warp your edges. So the process literally forces you to notice and correct errors as you go. Think of it as debugging a program, but with yarn. In fact, mathematician Dana Tamina used crochet to model the hyperbolic planes back in 1997 because paper couldn't do it. Those models are now used around the world to teach geometry. So even a beginner project is a tiny computational system. You're programming with yarn, detecting mistakes, and building shapes in real time. So when people brush knitting off as a domestic art, they're missing the bigger picture. Knitting is applied math, engineering, material science, and art all rolled into one. That's what makes the mistakes in the SciShow video even more frustrating, because they overlooked knitting's place as a real technology. And here's what makes this sting a little more. This wasn't just one person messing up. SciShow has a whole production team, writers, editors, fact-checkers. So when a whole group of people publish something that talks down to knitters, that's not just a slip, it's a system that does not see crafts as worthy of serious respect. And that's something we've seen throughout history with work that's traditionally associated with women. Now, let's be fair. SciShow did respond to the criticism. Jess, who is one of their producers and is a knitter, posted a statement under the video. She said that while some knitters are on the team, many others are not, and that's how some technical mistakes did slip through. She also mentioned that they didn't expect many knitters to actually see the video. And that's where the simplification was aimed at a general audience. But here's the thing, that's not how YouTube works. The algorithm doesn't just show videos to people who have no idea what knitting is. It shows it to anyone who might be interested. And who might be interested? Knitters and crocheters like me. I watch crochet content and the algorithm served me this video directly. So no matter their intentions, it reached exactly the people that it needed to respect. The goal of the video, according to Jess, was to show how versatile and beautiful knitting is. And I do appreciate that acknowledgement. But simplification doesn't excuse tone. Using words like string or knots instead of proper terminology might seem minor, but it feels dismissive to those who actually know the craft. And framing knitting as something that only became interesting once scientists studied it erases centuries of knowledge, skill, and innovation by the knitters themselves. So yes, an apology helps, but it also proves why this conversation matters. Craft is not the opposite of science. Knitting is not a silly hobby done by only women. Knitting is technology, it's engineering, and it's an art. And knitters deserve way more respect than what they got in that video. So as a crocheter and a baby knitter, I'm taking this as motivation. I want to learn more about the real history and the science of knitting, and maybe even make my own video diving into it properly. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. And check out these other videos.